Hi, Kara.
Hello, Oliver.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Good. Oliver, where are you working now?
Yeah, I keep working from home office, right? But I'm living pretty close to Waldorf, which is close to Heidelberg, Mannheim in Germany.
That's good. I mean, what company are you with right now?
SAP still.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, SAP.
Good. And is there a particular area of CI/CD interoperability that you are concerned on or want to have focus on?
Not very specifically, right? We're looking what we're looking at is mainly to have kind of an orchestrator independence, since we just have tons of teams.
Yes.
Some using Jenkins, some using Azure, some using Circles, some using what have you, right? I guess you will find almost every tool represent somewhere.
Certainly. And are you interested in the work on CD events that's ongoing with the event SIG?
Yeah, I have a look at it. Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure you were aware.
Yeah.
I think at the next meeting, which is for the event SIG, is on the 14th. Fidelity is going to be presenting on their use of cloud events sort of across their CI/CD pipelines, and might have some further involvement, like a growing engagement with CD events, which I think is quite nice to start bringing in, different end user experiences and what y'all are looking for your CD events or cloud events within CI/CD pipelines.
Yeah, we're looking actually into cloud events.
Nice. Okay. So that might be interesting for you, that meeting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. We're planning to essentially decouple some things from the pipeline itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And rather run certain things asynchronous.
Okay, and those would be policy checks, or what exactly?
Yeah, there's a ton of things which our teams today need to care about, right? It's open source security, static code checks, and static application security testing, for example. Static code checks they anyway do, but SaaS tooling, IP compliance topics, and so on. Many things. And there's at least one tool per area. And yeah, we want to really reduce cognitive load of teams and getting out of sites for them to set up the tooling and take care about running it, and rather provide feedback. And that's where we're looking into events as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really, I think I'm finding a really strong use case within internal platforms and things like that. That's great. That's really interesting. It would be great to have your involvement in those meetings as well. So can you all see my screen? I'm sharing the HackMD document.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So welcome everyone to the Interoperability SIG. Great to have you here. So we have no action items to review for today, so that's quite nice. But what I would like to remind you all on is that the CDCon CFP is still open. It's open until close of day, 18th February. I think there's a little bit of, I mean, you'll see it on the CFP page. It's like midnight, I think Pacific time, but basically 18th February, end of day. That's your deadline. So it'd be great. You know, the more talks, the merrier. We're really excited to read your talks and to have your participation in CDCon. Please submit a talk, even if you're unsure if your company will or can sponsor your travel now and sort of permit your travel. The way that we're seeing a different regulation and rules around certainly the Western world, but also, yeah, actually pretty much, yeah, the world. Things are loosening up. So hopefully CDCon will be accessible for more and more people around the world. Unfortunately, probably not everyone, but it is a weird time, hopefully getting better and safer for everyone. But we're really excited to gather together and to see you all in person. Should be really nice. On that note, we're also organizing contributor summits for CDCon, but at the moment, these are focused on CDF projects. So within the interoperability space, we are very likely to run a contributor summit for CD events, because that's now a CDCon project, quite exciting. But you can see all our projects on the projects page. So CD events, our newest project. If you all are involved with any of these project communities, please make sure that, you know, if you would like to see a contributor summit and participate in one, please encourage your community to sort of step forward to ask for space on the day. There is a form below. Some of the communities I've already spoken with, such as Jenkins and Tecton, but you know, we have room. We have at least 2 days and there's a number of rooms. So we should be able to provide space for all the communities that want to come together. And we'll also should be able to provide, you know, food and beverages on the day, though maybe not lunch, but certainly breakfast, snacks, drinks. So that's quite nice. And yeah, we just want to make sure that you all know it's happening so that everyone who's interested would be able to form a contributor summit and let us know so it can be organized. And on the note of conferences, FOSDEM is this weekend, which is pretty awesome. The CICD Dev Room looks great. There are people from within, you know, our space and CDF speaking, but even just generally within the CICD space, there's a great number of talks. So we have an interoperability with CD events, and Andrea and Eric are speaking. It's nice. There's also a number of talks on Jenkins. Oleg is certainly giving one, and it should be great. So obviously FOSDEM free, it's virtual this year. Don't, you know, engage if you can. Don't hesitate to engage. If you have any questions about CDCon, this is a good moment to ask. Okay, super. And then Fatih, unfortunately, is going to be stepping down as co-chair. And I say unfortunately because he's been amazing for 2 years, but he has been co-chair and really just doing a fabulous effort. He's been amazing for 2 years. So he is ready to step down. And so now we're looking for another co-chair. If you are at all interested in co-chairing the interoperability SIG, then please let us know. We would welcome your volunteering. If you have any question about what that entails, you can ask it now, or you can ping me directly. Okay, not going to worry too much about that then. For now, we're also, Anne-Marie's PRs are still up on stages and steps. She's working at more new detailed terminology. We discussed this a little bit last meeting, but you take a look at them. Unfortunately, she's not on the call today, which is kind of too bad, because she could provide more insight on what she's looking for, or if she feels how she's feeling about them. But please do look at these PRs. Is there anything that you all want to discuss on them? Cool. Good. Well, provide feedback, reviews, jump in, and let Anne-Marie and the rest of us know what you think. So we are also, as always, working on the interoperability roadmap. If there's anything that you want to see on the roadmap that is not there and that you think should be there, please add to it. You should have edit access. So yeah, actually on this note, are there any particular presentations, either of tools or in user case studies, that you all would like to hear about or would like to present on in upcoming meetings?
Nothing from my side.
Okay.
Which I have.
There. Good. This area, software supply chain, Fatih is starting a new software supply chain security SIG. So I would imagine we'll be liaising with them, but they will be sort of leading that conversation, but that should be good. It should be really good. I already signed up to be part of it. That should be formalized very soon. It's already in process to do so. So, and CD events going extremely well. You can see we have a new, go to the homepage. We have a new website that's under development for CD events. Pretty exciting. It's still very much in beta mode, but more and more is being added to it in terms of the documentation and the CD events repo. Similarly, getting going, more and more shall be added to it. If you wanted to participate in contributing to any of the work there or the SDKs that are under development, there's one, most active development is on the Go one. There's a Python one that's going to be starting soon based on the Go one. There's also a Java SDK that probably will be kicking off soon because there's a number of individuals who are interested in having it. So by all means, join the CD events Slack channel and or the CD events SIG meetings. Cool. Yeah. Nice. So that's actually really all my notes and announcements for you all today. But if you have any questions for me, let me know, or anything else you want to discuss today. And also we should probably think about the general schedule for this SIG moving forward.
Yeah, nothing here.
Okay.
In my mind.
Okay. What do you think? Let's just ask your opinion. What do you think the interoperability SIG, like what is the most interesting, cutting edge or pressing issue we should be working on for 2022? So like CD events was an awesome thing to grow out of this SIG last year. And like, it would be great to have sort of another really tangible area to sort of lean into. Oh, I think you might be muted. Hello?
Just a moment.
Okay. Great.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Great. I think one thing that I'd be really interested in is to have some like a catalog of quality events, quality gates.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Exist.
Nice. So for catalog of quality gates, you're not talking about different frameworks or tools that help you create quality gates. You're saying what are the types of quality gates that end users tend to create,
So like,
as they go about
some people would say we're not going to deploy unless our tests pass, and there's probably different tests that happen in different sections of the pipeline. And then some people now are saying like, we're going to do a security scan of the software bill of materials to make sure that we don't have any active CVEs against the thing that you're going to deploy. And I suspect that there are more than I could. If I took a first pass at this, I'd probably get like between 40 and 60% of the catalog. And so I think it'd be good to have some discoverability, be like, oh, I didn't even think I could do load tests during the pipeline. That's cool.
Yeah. So these would almost be like sort of a listing of different ways quality gates are being used, but then also maybe like little mini case studies, like, for example, us at SAP, we use a quality gate for this, and this is how we use it. Is that sort of thing? Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
I totally agree with that.
This probably falls more under SIG best practices, but I'm curious about how we would qualitatively evaluate a pipeline. Like, is this pipeline better than that pipeline, or?
So not testing, not security, but just simply a best practices way to evaluate the pipelines.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, that is really interesting. How would you think that one would do so?
If you have no quality gates, that's probably bad.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
If you don't deploy to production, then that's probably not as good as one that does deploy to production. If your pipeline takes 30 hours to run, that's probably not as good as something that takes 25 hours to run. Those are like heuristics that I would use to do evaluations in my head. But it'd be wonderful if there's a kind of an agreed upon framework around how to evaluate those sorts of things. I find that in my work at eBay, we're in a position where we need to figure out which teams need help, and we have a few hundred teams, and then so that those few hundred teams have a few thousand applications, which means a few thousand potential pipelines. And so help on that probably would be awesome as well.
Yeah. Justin, are you attending the best practices SIG? Are you involved with them?
I have attended a couple, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it seems very in that space.
Yeah. Cool. I'll take that to them and get that.
Well, no, but I think it is interesting. I'm just wondering how we could best, I'm also wondering how we would sort of put out a call. I mean, we can use, basically different outreach channels, but this is a really fun question of what quality gates people are really using in the wild. I would love to see that.
I think are good and useful for this context. I think if we were to take what amounts to the best practices grading question and put it in the kind of work I've seen this SIG do, it would be, what signals do we use for quality? Like, can we quantify the signals that one would use to evaluate quality?
Yeah.
So like execution speed would be one, like like, I want to say depth of quality checks.
What do you mean by that, depth of quality?
Like, if you have 0 quality gates, that's bad. If you have 30, that's maybe also bad. I don't know, but so there's some number that would be better than other numbers, and so that might be a signal to ways that we would think about pipelines and the health of pipelines. And quantifying the metrics, but not making any evaluations on whether that number is good or bad, seems similar in kind to the work of CD events and some of the other things that we've talked about. The pipeline steps, as an example.
So this initial like survey or asking of what are people really doing in practice is really more just information gathering, and not at this moment in time sort of making any judgment call, but really seeing how does this work for people in practice, and then using that information to kind of get a sense of best practices. I would imagine it's so context dependent, like so much of this is, you know. But it would be interesting to see, like from industry to industry, does it vary that much for best practices, or, you know, even really across like IoT, or, you know, like what, or ML ops, like what would it be? Yeah, I like that. Okay. So again, really practical question. What do you think is the best way to start gathering this? Do you want to start either an issue or some sort of page on the Interop SIG repo or the best practices repo, or both, and link them and kind of be like, this is the area we're going to gather this information in?
Yeah, I can make like a discussion
Mm-hmm.
in there around what quality gates people are using.
Okay, that would be really cool. I'm gonna give you cool. Does that sound about right? For your action item that you're going to create a discussion on the interoperability SIG repo on the quality gates and what people are using. Okay, cool. Is there anything you want to add to on that or discuss further with us? How are you using quality gates at eBay? Are you gonna pre-populate it, seed it with your own?
Yeah, I'll answer my own question with the stuff that we're doing, but right now it's a non-blocking security scan. We do some tests, and then we do a canary rollout, and that's about it. Amazon had a much more had a deeper set of quality gates, which included like load tests and things like that. And so,
is it at all normal to differentiate between the quality gates that you would run and use before, I mean, other than just straight up testing, but before doing any amount of rollout? Like, is there a natural split between before rolling out anything and the checks that are done when you're rolling out? That might be.
yeah, I think there is. I think most quality gates would happen pre-rollout. Well, at least before they hit production. And then there's like a monitoring / ramping process that would do some amount of validation once it hit production.
Right. Yeah.
I suspect once we get a list from folks, it would be, they'll kind of bucket themselves. Like we'll see like, oh yeah, that clearly happens in production versus not. That's my guess. I don't, we'll see.
Yeah. How do you differentiate between these sort of quality checks that are happening during a rollout or a progressive delivery versus the checks that you run all the time when it's out, like anything that's running 100% of production? Or is it just a continuation of the same?
It's a little different for us.
Okay.
So for our Canary rollouts, we have a few metrics that we kind of bake in, like error rate, latency, things like that. And teams can add their own custom metrics. And then it mostly differentiates based on what the result is. So if the alarm happens to trip, then it will roll back the deploy or cancel the deploy and roll back, as opposed to just paging somebody. And so it's a subset of our metrics, it's a subset of our alarms, and then there's a result of canceling the deploy. It's the biggest difference. And I guess the data set it operates on. So in our Canary work, we only look at the alarm data for the latest build artifact.
I'm sorry, you called it alarm data?
Yeah, like, so we emit metrics.
Yeah.
One of the dimensions of the metrics is the build ID of the artifact that's being deployed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we only look at the most recent one when evaluating those metrics, versus our actual alarms that page us. We don't care about what the build ID is. It's a larger aggregate set of data.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I was thinking too on this, finding what quality gates that people are using within teams or within like a company, thinking about which quality gates are absolutely standardized across all teams and how much differential, like how much additional quality gates some teams have versus others, or different focus areas, and how that grows out, like how much of it has some sort of centralized standardization within a company between all the different developer teams. How much do you have at eBay?
So could you say that again?
In terms of the quality gates between all the different teams, do you have them all do the same checks and quality gates, or do they have sort of a standard minimum and then beyond that they have flexibility?
Yeah, there's a standard minimum, and we're trying to provide tooling to increase the minimum. So like everybody, like basically raise the bar on what everyone has to do. But that's a work in progress. Yeah. So right now our security scans are asynchronous and non-blocking. And so we're working to make that synchronous and blocking, because we don't want security issues in prod.
Nice. What is your movement, like what are your steps to make it non-blocking? What are you focusing on? Are you looking at supply chain security?
Sorry, am I focusing on what?
Supply chain security or that sort of thing?
Yeah. Right now we're focused on stability of that and runtime. So it's a little slow and a little flaky. We're in the process of moving to a more standard Kubernetes approach, like this Kubernetes deployment model, which is going to firm up our software bill of materials, make that much clearer. And then we have tooling which will operate on that bill of materials to basically do a better security scan than what we're doing currently.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what we're doing.
Nice. Okay, good. All right, so I will leave you to set up this page. From the CDF point of view, we can do a shout out on channels and social media, try and get some more input. And then hopefully we'll have something really interesting to review for next time, which I think would be pretty cool. And if you know any, either yourself or, your team, or anyone else that is doing interesting work in their quality gates and would like to speak on it, we could have them present next week as well, or next meeting, or in a future meeting.
Thanks so much.
Okay, so that's the half hour. I don't have any other topics on my agenda, but if you all have anything else you would like to discuss, now's a good time. Okay, thank you all for being here. Remember FOSDEM this weekend. That should be great. CDCon CFP. And if you're involved in any of our projects, please, become lead organizer to host a contributor summit. They should be really fun. So, okay, good. And please do get involved on this Quality Gates discussion. It's very interesting to see what other companies and teams are doing and how much variation there is. I like this a lot. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
idea.
Bye.
Okay. Bye.